Thank you, Rina. So my name is Ophir. I'm the president of Students Supporting Israel at Columbia University. I am currently a senior at Columbia and also a first year at the School of International Public Affairs at Columbia. But as I said, the most important thing I do on campus, hands down, is being the president of Students Supporting Israel. This organization is an organization of Jews and non-Jews, left and right, Israelis and not Israelis, who believe in the fundamental right of the Jewish people to self-determination in their homeland. Unfortunately, at Columbia and in many other campuses, it's not obvious. The question of the sheer right of Israel to exist as a state for the Jewish people is being challenged every single day. The question on Columbia's campus, as on many other campuses in the US and across the world, it is not 67, it's 48. It's whether or not Jews have a right to a nation state of their own. Before I talk about Begin, I just want to say, if it's not clear to everyone here on this call, this is anti-Semitism. If you believe that every single nation in the world deserves their own nation state, but the Jewish people, you're an anti-Semite. And if you believe that there's a certain standard by which you judge all other nations of the world, but a different standard for the only Jewish state, you are an anti-Semite. And this is something we need to put out there. We must address this and know this as the baseline for our activism. Now I want to talk about Begin. I had the extreme privilege to grow up in the Beitar youth movement. Begin was the head of Beitar in Poland. I was lucky enough, I am lucky enough to be a fifth generation to Beitar families from both sides. Both my amazing parents are here and their entire families were a part of Beitar. And being a part of this movement, although it is very small today, it's an extreme privilege, not just because Begin, one of the, and Jabotinsky, of course, the greatest leaders, in my opinion, of the Jewish people were in this movement, but because of the values that this movement gave me and Begin as well. One of the core tenets of Beitar is activism. Is when things look grim, when you think there is no chance that you can make it, do it. Still try. Do it, and not just so you can do it. Jabotinsky believed that, he said, the youth are the driving force behind society. And this is something Begin also believed in. And to me, this is something so important to our activism on campus because we, the young people, are those who are driving society. We are those able to make the difference. We can fight, and even if it looks like Colombia will never like Israel, and maybe it's true, what Begin taught me is that I should still try, and not just try my hardest. And the last point I want to make about Begin and about Beitar is that there is a beautiful line that was written by Jabotinsky, and I know Begin believed in full-heartedly. He said, in this land, the land of Israel, they will have prosperity and joy for the Arab, the Christian, and my son, the Jew. And for me, on campus, this is so important because I view Zionism not as just for Jewish people. Students Supporting Israel is not a Jewish organization. We have many non-Jewish members. And it's not just that I need them on campus to advocate for Israel, but it's that I believe that Zionism has so many things to offer to them. Zionism is so inspirational and it can help them achieve their goals. I want to conclude by saying that I had the extreme privilege to live my entire life in the shadow of giants like Menachem Begin. And to say that throughout my 26 years of life, Begin was always an inspiration. And if you don't know enough about him, you should learn because he is an inspiration. This is a man who tried his entire life to be the Prime Minister of Israel, and when everyone told him it's not going to happen, he still tried. And he managed to do that. And not just he did that, he managed to bring Israel into a peace agreement that looked completely, unreachable. And if he could have done that, if the person sitting next to Knesset member X that was so radical for Ben Gurion to even call his name was the one able to bring Israel one of the most important diplomatic achievements since its inception, I'm pretty sure we can make a difference on college campuses, even the more progressive ones. Not just that we can, we must. So I urge you to do that. And if you're parents or grandparents, tell your children or grandchildren to do that. I'm here to answer questions during the Q&A. And you can also look me up on Facebook or Twitter, Ophir Dayan 1994, and I would love to answer your questions there as well and support you in any way possible and promote the legacy of giants like Menachem Begin. Thank you.
Thank you.